season as head coach, 24th overall, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, we get a opening statement on this season.
Yeah, just another year. It's been a little bit different because of all the construction projects and things like that, but that's a good thing right now. We're excited with the new upgrades and the new facility, and we're just looking forward. It was a challenging fall with practice and things like that, but we got all through that, and you can tell we got a nice place out there right now, and we're excited to get on it, and we've been on it the last couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to having a full season on it as well. But just, I think our team is a team that's got a chance to be really good again. Obviously, you got to have the ball bounce your way a lot, and you've got to try to stay away from some injuries and things like that. But just excited. I think we've got a lot of good returning pitching. Obviously, with Zane Taylor leading us back, and Trace Baker and the Baker Coxes and things like that. And then from a position player standpoint, I think we're returning 6 out of 9 that started a lot for us last year. It's always great to have an All-American in the infield with Tanner, a senior catcher or 2 senior catchers behind the plate, a junior at second, a senior at short, and then a couple very experienced outfielders in DeMar Tino and Brock Wills, who've played a lot of games for us as well. So, so just a lot of positives. The league's going to be very good again. I feel like us and Charleston and Northeastern and and several other teams got a chance to be really good, and hopefully good enough to where not only just in our league but from an at-large standpoint as well. But just ready to go. It's been one of those falls where just we've had to kind of change everything that we did from a normal standpoint, and it's nice to kind of be back, know where we're practicing, know where we're at. All our freshmen and transfers now have basically had a couple weeks on Brooks Field. They didn't really ever have that until they got here this spring, so it's nice.
In terms of the field changes and all the other things around it in your 24 years, do you think there's ever been an off season with more changes?
No, that's a big no. We've always been able to try to do a little kind of odds and end things, but we've never had a major renovation like we took on this fall. The stress of it from basically, hey, we're starting this in June and it not start till August, and then knowing from a timeline frame like we need to be on it early January, and we were lucky enough the weather wasn't that bad throughout the fall. We had that early storm in September, but after that the weather was pretty good. But just when you're dealing with construction and things like that, it just kind of wears on you a little bit when you're trying to make sure you're getting things right to be able to have a nice place. And I was happy I got to be a big part of that, because it's fun to kind of have ideas and then see them come to fruition. And obviously the help and support from our administration from a funding standpoint is huge. So we're excited, but we're brand new field, brand new dugouts, brand new outfield fence. We reconfigured the dimensions a little bit. I think you're going to see over the next couple months into the summer some of the premium seating area like behind home plate and out in left field is going to change and give us a lot of different kind of pretty cool things that are going on at the ballpark. And then adding the video board here in the next month is just going to change the whole fan experience and the game day atmosphere that I think is really going to create a really nice venue here at Brooks Field, which it's already been, but just upgrade it.
And Coach, with all of that you just mentioned, and then obviously the success that you guys have had over the last 2 years, I mean, I got to imagine the energy surrounding this season might be just a little bit different. Can you kind of describe just within the players and the team, kind of the energy and the kind of, I guess, a little bit of the hype for this year?
Yeah, I mean, they most of them now play on turf in high school and travel ball a whole lot more than they do natural surfaces, especially in the travel ball summer circuit. So turf is not new to them. We play on a lot of turf in our league and other schools because it's become something more of a normal thing in college baseball and college sports now. But just having that as now ours to where we don't miss practices and and get to kind of continue just to develop our players the right way. That's a neat aspect to be able to do now, where I don't have to sit and basically watch the Weather Channel and WCT or WWAY or any of the weather stations 24 hours a day and try to figure out what is right and where we're going to be at from wind, rain, and all that kind of stuff. So it takes a lot of the stress off of that. And just, with the technology that's going to come in with the video board and things, the world we live in now, the kids like seeing their picture and their name and video and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's cool as a coach too to look up there and be able to see how hard someone throws and see a replay and all that kind of stuff, and all the little games you can do in between innings, and just a whole lot more it brings to the game day atmosphere that I think is going to be really neat at Brooks Field.
You mentioned it a little bit. Obviously, the changes are, some people are for, some people are against some of them. But regardless of that, it's still an investment from the university. And you guys have been a championship program. Are you content with the university's, influx in this investment in your championship program?
Totally. I mean, we're at a point now at our university, our athletic department, our staff, where it just became very difficult to maintain a natural surface and keep it at the level and the quality that our program, our players, other teams need it to be at. From afar, where you're standing up at the top of Brooks Field and looking down, you probably didn't notice a lot of things, but when you're on it every day and you're dealing with weather and drainage and things like that, it became a struggle just for us to play games and to get practices in. And I'm a baseball purist. I would love to have a full natural surface, but we're just not at that point in our university and staffing and means, and this is as good or equal to that. And I think we're gonna reap the rewards of being able now to really have a lot more time, like, from a coaching standpoint, we're spending extra hours helping the field crew do things. Now we can devote a lot of that time to player development and getting our guys better and coaching and things like that, which I think is going to be even more. It's fun for us as coaches because we want to coach. And we know signing up, sometimes you do have to do a lot of the field work and maintenance, but it's nice now to maybe be able to go back more to the coaching side of it and really invest in our players.
The term three-peat, I heard a lot today from players. I know a lot of times for media day we talk about ambiguous goals and try to keep it kind of in the nether, but they were intentional about saying it. And would you echo that of how intentional it's been within the team this preseason?
Yeah, I don't think it's something we yell and say at the end of every team meeting or anything like that. But I think internally, I think the guys know, one, how tough it is to just win it once, how tough it is to win it twice, and how special it could be to win it 3 times in a row. I mean, they got the Chiefs this weekend trying to go for a three-peat in the Super Bowl. But our goal is to just get ourselves prepared every day. Come out, give our best effort. We're going to play a extremely challenging schedule year in and year out. There's no difference this year. We got to win baseball games. You can play as hard a schedule you want or as easy as you want. Bottom line, you got to win baseball games. And for us as a coaching staff, I want to continue to get better every week, every day, every week as we move across the 14 weeks of the season. We kind of have a formula, what we need to do, where we need to be at from, how we schedule and who we schedule. And if we kind of stick with that year in and year out and win the games that we're supposed to, then it usually puts us in a good situation to be top of the league, at-large potential. Those are always goals of ours. There's a standard. I mean, I said it at our banquet the other night, and a lot of people don't know it, but this program's been in the conference championship final 8 out of the last 9 seasons, 11 out of the last 15, and 14 out of the last 20. So, I mean, that's a high standard. There's a lot of expectations that are on us to be successful. I think with us being a spring sport and probably one of the two, us and softball and maybe track and field, kind of ending up the back end of the spring into the summer, we kind of hold the last hope for the university to have a successful program. Obviously you go through the winter sports and the fall, but we kind of tidy things up at the back end. So there's a lot of expectations in us, and we hold them on ourselves as well. There's a standard, and our guys expect and know that, you know, winning is a big part of what we're trying to do here.
I know you mentioned 6 of 9 returning players on the diamond, but I think 3 pitchers drafted and I think 3 others in the transfer portal. Obviously, it's a big area of opportunity for the pitching staff now. What have you seen in terms of the growth from this season to last season in some of the players, and specifically maybe some of the newer guys that are here that we have not seen?
Yeah, I mean, when you lose the R.J. Sells, the Luke Craigs, the Jacob Schaefers, those guys, they pitched a lot for us, not just last year, but previous years, and they pitched big moments and big innings. But I'll go back, you know, Zane Taylor's probably been the most consistent pitcher we've had here over the last 3 years. He's probably, I think, 15 or 16 starts away from setting the all-time start record here. So we're going to need to get through 14 weeks and get into postseason for him. And then we've had some other guys that, you know, had roles last year or the year before that it's just their turn to take the next step in their development. You know, Trace Baker came here last year as a junior college guy, and, you know, really just his role kept getting bigger and bigger. And then in the conference tournament, he goes out and throws 6 innings against Charleston. And, you know, he was more of a reliever last year. We're going to try to get him into a starting role this year and see how that goes. And then you got some young guys like Connor Marshburn and Cooper Allen, and then we got a freshman, Cam Bagwell, that all have great potential to be big-time arms for us, and whatever role they fit in are going to be throwing a lot. And obviously there's other guys I haven't mentioned, but, you know, I feel very comfortable where we're at from a pitching staff standpoint. Roles and things like that will just kind of be mapped out here over the next several weeks and can change week to week.
You talked a lot about expectations, and obviously that can help a lot, but I imagine at times it can also be a little bit of a hindrance, sometimes pressure. Different players deal with things differently. How do you kind of balance that and kind of allow the guys to feed off of that but not let it get to them too much?
Yeah, they probably don't worry about it or think about it as much as I do, and I don't really like make it a point to talk about it every day, but I do remind them of our standards of our past. You know, we don't get all of this if it wasn't for players 20 years ago or players 10 years ago or 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So there's a reason why these guys get to have a unbelievable indoor facility, a brand new field. They're just adding to the legacy and the history of what UNCW baseball is all about. I want them to understand that, how important that is, because, you know, when they leave here in 2, 3, 4 years, you know, it might not mean as much then as it will 10 years from now when they come back and celebrate that 10-year reunion of a conference championship and a regional appearance and dogpiling and that kind of stuff. We've been very, very fortunate to where there hasn't been many classes at all over the last 20-plus years to not experience a year in the time that they're here of winning a conference championship or going to a regional. So, you know, pressure, I like pressure because that's what I signed up for. I want to be in a place to where we have a chance to be very successful, and that's a big reason why I came here 20-some years ago. I thought Wilmington had a great chance to be very good in baseball, and Coach Scaff gave me a lot of leeway as an assistant, and you know, as a head coach, we're just doing a lot of things that we've been doing over the last 20-plus years. Obviously, with a lot of new age stuff, we got to kind of adapt to technology and things like that. But bottom line is we try to be very blue collar and go about it the right way, work hard, and you know, when it's time to walk through that field or cross the lines, you just go give it your best. And if we've prepared them the right way and the guys have worked, we're going to be successful. We're going to have a chance to do what we need to do.
Baseball America released projections today for the postseason. They had you guys and Charleston in it. Obviously, last year there was a lot of noise with Charleston not making the postseason. Do you think this is a good year to talk about things like a 2-bid CAA in the postseason again?
Yeah, I mean, I think just looking at returning players, I mean, you've got, and again, I'm not dismissing any other teams, but Charleston returns a lot. Their whole 2/3 of their starting pitching staff that was a top 10 staff in the country is back. Plus some really good position players. Plus they got a little chip on their shoulder. You know, they were they were probably the last team that didn't get in, and they deserved it. I mean, they had a hell of a year. Northeastern is as talented as anybody from a position player standpoint, you know, and they always do a fundamentally just sound job on the mound, with just throwing a lot of strikes and competing. And, you know, I think, you know, your William and Marys, your Elons, your Campbells, your Delaware in their last year, they got a lot of returning players that every week in the CA is very tough. There's no easy games. It's a dogfight to win a series. But I do think, you know, we're a top 10 league like we've proven the last 2 years. We were 7 conference RPI 2 years ago. Last year we were 10, and that's out of 31 conferences. And I think there's not going to be any difference this year. You're going to see that our league's pretty well thought of as a power major. And I think you're going to see a lot of good baseball and a lot of, hopefully, multiple teams put ourselves in position to be in the postseason.
Last question for me. I know Coach Staff is now, I know he's been around forever, but I know now he's officially, again, a member of the athletic department. How's that been for you? Has it been an increase in the relationship? I know obviously it's pre-existing, but now are you dealing with him any more than you were before, and how has it been?
No, I mean, one, having him back to help out our department, help out our baseball program specifically, and that's what he wanted to do when he was asked, has been a huge plus. Coach Scaff's always around in a way, so like it's not like he just left. You know, he comes out to a lot of games, he supports us, his wife likes to come. You know, so having him around, I like it because I get to lean on him and ask questions and get his thoughts on different things, whether it be baseball or whatever. You know, I mean, the man's got a lot of experience, and you know, gave me an awesome opportunity 24 years ago to come here. But he's been a big plus to our fundraising. Just over the last several months, we went from probably not doing a scoreboard to we went out and raised $1 million to get a scoreboard done, and we're going to put it up this year. We're not waiting until next year. So, you know, that's been huge, and he's been a big part of that. Mike Oblinger, myself, Adam Faring, a lot of people in the department to make things happen. And I'm just thankful that Chancellor Valetti and the administration have allowed us to kind of to go get it and do it. And but no, he's been a big positive plus for not only our department but always our program.
Coach, a lot of really good preseasons across the board for you guys last season, and obviously this season as well. But Terrence Thatcher was just phenomenal. Can you talk about just, you know, having him back this season, and you know, obviously it's a team thing and everybody has to contribute, but he's just been so good. Can you talk a little bit about him?
Yeah, I think if all of y'all have been around him over the last 2 years in some shape or form, you know it's not just a baseball player. It's a great human being. You know, we can talk forever off the field about him because it's plus makeup, and that's what a lot of the professional scouts and the people that'll be making a lot of decisions from a baseball standpoint already know and have seen. But the baseball side of it, I mean, mid-major programs, power major programs don't usually get 42 home runs back in their program after 2 years. Somebody now in the portal age snaps them up and gives them a lot of money. We're very fortunate that Tanner maybe doesn't value that as much as he does where he's at, who he's with, what he's done, and what he continues to want to do from a history standpoint in this program. So that's been huge to get a player like that to stay. And we've been fortunate enough that most of our players over the last 3 or 4 years want to be here, and we haven't had a lot of portal issues or portal problems, and I'm not saying it won't eventually happen, but Wilmington's a pretty cool place to go to school, and it's a great university, and our program's pretty doggone good as well. So there's a lot of positives of why people want to be here. But just, you know, getting the production that young man brings day in and day out, and the leadership, the defensive ability at first base, saves us a lot of runs with just how he handles the glove over there. And then the off-the-field makeup and stuff like that. There's a reason why he's one of the 4 captains as a junior. He'll graduate this year in 3 years. So I mean, there's just a lot of there's not a lot of things you can kind of nitpick about the young man, and there's a lot of pressure on him to go out and have a good year. But he's done it 2 years in Division I baseball against great competition. He's done it 2 years up in the Cape, which means a lot from a professional standpoint. So I just hope he relaxes, goes out, have fun, and the good things for him in the next part of his career, professional side, will take care of itself, and hopefully he won't put a lot of pressure on himself, because there's no need to. Just go have fun, do what you've always done, and he's already kind of written his story a little bit. Now he's just adding to it.